Over the weekend, we've had a leak straight from Kubo's official fan club, Klub Outside, as it seems like episode 6 of Cour 4 of the 1000-Year Blood War arc anime will be titled The End. Well, it doesn't specifically say The End, the image cuts off as it says The E, but as you know, these episodes are titled after chapters. So we can logically assume that episode 46 is going to be titled after one of the chapters from 679 to 681. As chapter 679 is called The End, 680 is The End 2, and 681 is called The End 2 World. Here's where things get pretty insane. If they're going to be covering this many chapters by episode 46, then this only leaves us with about 7 chapters worth of manga content for the remaining episodes of Cour 4. I've already discussed how over 54% of Cour 4 will consist of anime original content, but I didn't think that this was all going to be included in one full stretch for the second half of Cour 4. I'd assumed that all of this anime original content would have been spread across the entire runtime of Cour 4, but it seems like this isn't going to be happening. Kubo has been attending all of the recording sessions for Cour 4 and has been posting up preview images of some of the scripts, and the recording session leaks for episode 46 show that Soifon and Omaida are involved in episode 46, which is pretty wild because they're completely absent from this part of the manga. Pierrot Films are restructuring and rebuilding the finale of the 1000-Year Blood War arc, and after seeing what they have done with Cour 3, I am more than convinced that this is going to be the definitive version of Bleach's ending. So I want to give you some context about this entire situation. Cour 3 ended at the midpoint of chapter 661, leaving us with roughly 25.5 chapters to adapt for Cour 4. Previous cours handled between 50 to 67 chapters each. Cour 1 adapted 62 chapters, Cour 2 blitzed through 67.5 chapters, and Cour 3 adapted 52 chapters. This means Cour 4 has less than half of the source material of any previous part. If you've been watching my manga vs anime analysis videos, then you'll be aware that most of the episodes adapt 3 to 4 chapters. If Cour 4 begins by adapting 4 chapters per episode, then the manga content will be complete within 6 episodes. This will then leave us with a gap of 7 episodes of anime original content. This is roughly 40 chapters worth of new material. I've actually drawn up an entire timeline of whenever Kubo has mentioned Cour 4. On the 22nd of November 2023, he posted that the first meeting for Cour 4 was taking place, and he described it as taking a lot of time, but it was fun nonetheless. On the 10th of January 2024, he revealed that they were discussing several new anime exclusive scenes for Cour 4, and the meeting was very fun. On the 4th of December 2024, Kubo revealed that he'd shown the anime staff several new storyboards that he had drawn specifically for Cour 4, and apparently the team was overjoyed and excited after seeing them. When he spoke about these storyboards, Kubo also described them as being insanely difficult to animate, as he adds that he is praying for the animators. Whatever he has been cooking up behind the scenes is going to push Pierrot Films to their absolute limits. And Kubo said that his supervision work for Cour 4 alone equals everything that he has done for Cours 1 to 3 combined. Now here's something pretty big that nobody is really talking about. Cour 4 is Pierrot Films' first completely self-produced project. While Cour 3 had the Pierrot Films banner, it wasn't entirely created by that division. Producer Yoshihiro Tominaga wasn't subtle about their ambitions either. He had specifically cited Demon Slayer as a major turning point which had forced industry-wide improvements, and he said that they've substantially increased budgets to ensure cinema-level quality. This means that Cour 4 is not only going to have more anime original content than ever before, it's also going to be the most well-animated cour out of all of the ones that we've had so far. This all-new leak for the title of episode 46 is the clearest roadmap that we've gotten for the structure of Cour 4. If they're reaching chapter 679, where Yuhobak defeats Ichigo and prepares to steal his powers, by the halfway mark of Cour 4, then this changes the entire pacing of the 1000-Year Blood War arc finale. We know with Cour 3 a lot of battles were restructured and rearranged. Take for example Hashward vs Baz B. In the manga, this fight took place before Mayuri vs Pernida and before Shunsui vs Lil, but Cour 3 had rearranged it so that this fight would take place right at the end of Cour 3. I think that we could be getting a similar situation here where the battles have been massively rearranged. So content from later chapters may be appearing earlier than what we would have expected, but again, we can't really say this for certain, so we can only really go off of what we're seeing. If we assume that there is no restructuring of the manga content, then we need to determine everything that needs to happen before episode 46. So first, we have Askin versus Urahara and Yoruichi. This needs to conclude. The entire Gerard-Valkyrie battle with the Vizards and the captain trio has to also end, plus Hashward versus Uryu needs its resolution. This is roughly 18 chapters worth of content, which has been stretched across 5 episodes. Then after episode 46, we've got chapters 680 to 686. It's literally 7 chapters for potentially 6 or 7 episodes. The Ginjo and Tsukishima arrival is maybe half a chapter of content. The final battle against Yhwach is about 3 chapters at maximum, and then the epilogue, where we have the 10-year time skip, is 2 chapters. There is no way that they are going to fill all of this time for the final 6 or 7 episodes without any anime additional content or without massive restructuring of the manga chapters for Core 4. These episodes are centered around Yhwach's third Auswahlen. He does this within chapter 680, where after casting the third Auswahlen, he knocks out Hashward and kills Gerard. Now, if you think back to episode 25 of Core 2, the second Auswahlen that Yhwach had done was massively changed within the anime. In the manga, Yhwach performs Auswahlen right after Nimaya defeats Askin and before leaving the Cage of Life. In the anime, he instead does so after Ichibei cuts his name and power in half, and once Hashward and Uryu have been defeated as well. So a lot of events surrounding the second Auswahlen have been restructured and changed around. Like when the Schutzstaffel are revived by the second Auswahlen, they appear to gain partial forms of their Quincy holy forms. This is something that wasn't included within the manga, and the second Auswahlen was changed around just so that we could get those anime exclusive battles between the Royal Guard and the Schutzstaffel, and I believe that a similar situation could be happening with the third Auswahlen, which will allow us to have extended fight sequences with the Askin and Gerard fights, as well as the most important battle that needs additions to it, which is Uryu versus Hashward. The fact that Soifon and Amida are appearing in the recording sessions for episode 46, and the image that Kubo had shared appears to show that they have extensive dialogue. All of this is original content that wasn't in the manga, since these characters were totally absent from the story at this point. This could be the entire Gotei 13 reacting to Yhwach's complete victory, or it could be Soifon and Amida getting anime exclusive scenes where they two battle against Gerard-Valkyrie, or it could be the entire Gotei 13 launching a final assault against Yhwach before he attempts to return to the Soul Society. Now, in addition to this amazing news, we've also learned that the opening and ending song selection for Core 4 is in its final stages too, and Kubo confirmed that he's been directly involved in choosing the bands and he trusts the team with the visual cuts for the anime opening and ending. Fans are desperately hoping that Aqua Times returns, and I for one would love to see Aqua Times do the opening and ending song for Core 4, since they are one of my favorite bands who did work on the 2004 anime. When it comes to Core 4, I want to keep bringing it back to this point. We have 25.5 chapters to adapt across 13 episodes. If paced well, then we could have 2 episodes worth of content per major fight in the final season. My theory is that all of the anime original content is going to be spread across the runtime of Core 4, and I think that the reason why episode 46 has the title The End is because a lot of restructuring is going to happen around that third Auswahlen. Some people think that episodes 1 to 6 of Core 4 are going to be adapting 4 to 5 chapters straight from the manga without any changes. I think this is pretty ridiculous, and some people are assuming that, well, this leaves the final 6 or 7 episodes to adapt We Do Not Always Love You, or to extend the prologue of the Bleach manga. I do not think that we're gonna get any light novel content within Core 4, and even if they do, I think they'll incorporate it into the epilogue of the Bleach manga. I'm saying this because of the proof that we have from Cores 1 to 3. Look at how the manga content was handled, especially in Cores 2 to 3. In Core 3, we saw heavy restructuring. The order of several fights was rearranged within Core 3, as well as the sequence of events was totally changed from how they occurred within the manga. So if you want my definitive opinion on Core 4, I think we're going to get roughly 40 chapters worth of new content, which will be spread across the runtime of those 25.5 chapters. We're talking about entire new plot threads, backstories, and extended fight sequences nuances and things that we've just never seen before within the manga, which Kubo wasn't able to include, and I do think there's a possibility of us even getting an Urahara and Yoruichi flashback during the battle against Askin. Kubo said it himself, the amount of work that he's done for Core 4 surpasses everything that he's done for Cores 1 to 3. This is his opportunity to fix every rushed element from the ending of the 1000-Year Blood War arc in the manga. Remember, Kubo was literally collapsing from exhaustion while drawing these final chapters. Now he gets to do a complete do-over with unlimited time and quite a massive budget. Look at the conclusion of the battle against Askin. We don't even know the fate of Urahara and Grimmjow from the Bleach manga. In Can't Fear Unworld, we do learn that Nell does rescue them, but this wasn't shown to us in the manga. The anime has included Can't Fear Unworld content, like including Shinji's Bankai within Core 2, so I definitely think we'll get an anime exclusive scene with Nell rescuing Urahara and Grimmjow. The Vizards have already been confirmed for getting anime additional scenes against Gerard Valkyrie, and I do hope that this is the opportunity where we'll finally get to see Love's Bankai in action. He's literally the only Vizard captain whose Bankai remains to be seen. Core 3 also showed us all of the Vizards collectively holofying, which is something that we didn't even think was possible. So that's one confirmed anime exclusive edition for Core 4, and then we have the issues surrounding the final battles against Yhwach. Are we going to get an all-new extended sequence where we see the full fight between Aizen and Yhwach? Because in the manga it only lasted for a few manga panels. And then you have Ichigo's true Bankai, and as it stands we don't even know the ability of it. Fans have speculated that it has the ability to change fate, but I would love to get some official confirmation via some new scenes in Core 4. Core 3 also dropped some massive bombshells revealing the true name of the Soul King to be Adonais. We also got some hints of the primordial world of Bleach and how it was split into 3 realms. We do need an expanded Soul King flashback where we learn more about the original sin of the Bleach universe. This is where Can't Fear Unworld content can be properly incorporated into the 1000-Year Blood War arc, where you can learn about the 5 noble families' ancestors and how they mutilated and sealed the Soul King in order to create the current world order. For us to understand the actions of the ancestors of the 5 great noble families, it will reframe how we see Yhwach. I've said this in previous videos, but I don't think you can understand Yhwach's character unless you know this crucial backstory from Can't Fear Unworld. This is a villain who had witnessed his own father being turned into a living linchpin. So yeah, if Core 4 is going to have any additions, they need to be on the lore of the primordial world, Yhwach, Adonais, and the ancestors of the noble families. If they're adding 7 episodes worth of content, then there's more than enough room for a full flashback episode showing the original primordial world, young Yhwach discovering the truth, and why he wants to merge all of the realms together to return reality to its original state. This will transform Yhwach from a generic bad guy to then us questioning the true motives and nature of the Soul Society. Another major element that Core 4 needs to explain is the still silver arrowhead. This needs way more explanation than what the manga gave us. This thing was formed from a blood clot within the heart of Uryu's mother after Yhwach's Auswahlen killed her 9 years ago. Ryuken performed an autopsy on his own wife to extract this, and it does appear as though we're going to get some anime exclusive additions to the backstory of the Quincy and that original Auswahlen from 9 years ago. During the finale of Core 3, we saw that the Auswahlen had in fact impacted Uryu and not Uryu's mother, and we had also seen Ryuken and Isshin arriving within Varavelt way earlier than what they did within the manga. We might actually see Ryuken explain what the still silver arrowhead is to Uryu properly. Imagine getting a full flashback showing Ryuken preparing it, his years of planning, 3 generations of the Ishida family who have been affected by Yhwach, as we'll understand how Uryu was able to fight off Auswahlen and why his mother ended up dying instead of him. Core 4 of the anime can't just show us Chad and Ganju fighting some statues and then never seeing them again. I do hope that they do get a bit more screen time. It would be pretty cool to see them team up with Ginjo and Tsukishima, especially with us knowing that Ganju had trained the 2 of them. Some people have theorized that Yhwach could use Yamamoto's stolen Bankai to resurrect some dead Sternritter for Chad and Ganju to fight, but I do think that this is an elaborate fan theory and not something that I can actually see happening. You have to also remember that Kubo and the anime director Taguchi have been teasing that a mysterious character will be appearing within Core 4. Some fans believe that this could be Tokinada from the Can't Fear Unworld light novels, as he's connected to the lore of the Soul King and the original sin of the ancestors of the noble families. release. If Tokinada appears within the 1000-year Blood War arc anime, it would be a perfect bridge to a Can't Be Your Own World anime adaptation. Then you have the epilogue of the Bleach manga, which also needs expansion. I mean, Rukia becoming captain of the 13th division is a big deal, and I do think that it needs more screen time. Then you have Lisa taking the position of the 8th captain, Isane becoming the 4th division captain, and then reveals like Kazui and Ichika meeting, as well as Aizen's final speech on courage from Muken. I would love to see all of this massively expanded upon within Core 4. Some fans have also speculated that we may get some material from No Breeds from Hell one-shot being adapted into Core 4, especially towards the end. Some fans have even wanted the entire one-shot to be adapted for the finale of Core 4, because if they end with the cliffhanger from the one-shot, then it would mean that Kubo would be solidifying his plans to continue the story in manga form. Then let's have a look at all of the light novel content that takes place after the end of the 1000-year Blood War arc and before the 10-year manga epilogue. So Can't Be Your Own World happens 6 months after the defeat of Yuha Bark, We Do Not Always Love You occurs 3 years after the defeat of Yuha, and the manga epilogue of course is 10 years later, and the No Breeds from Hell one-shot occurs 12 years after Yuha's defeat. I've said this for a while, but I think everybody involved with Bleach has at least a 10-year plan for the franchise. I don't think things are going to be over after Core 4 of the 1000-year Blood War arc is adapted. Pyro Films do have the option of adapting light novels into movies or even their own anime seasons. While they're doing this, Kubo would have plenty of time to work on the Hell arc manga continuation. Once all of the light novels are adapted, then I would assume that Pyro Films would continue adapting the Hell arc into its own anime, and during all of this, there could be even a potential for the Bleach anime to get a complete reboot from the very beginning, which adapts Bleach from the first chapter all the way up until the end of the Fullbring arc into a more well-paced series with modern animation and art. I've broken down quite a lot for the future of the Bleach franchise, and I think that a lot of my predictions are realistic, and when you look at what's happening behind the scenes, it makes sense, especially with Bleach having an appearance on the biggest stage at Jump Festa, the Red Stage, which is reserved for some of the biggest announcements from the event. Only time will tell with what is going to be revealed in December of 2025, and I'm super excited to see what we have in store for the future of Bleach going into 2026 onwards. We have reached the point of the video where I want to hand over the discussion to all of you. What are your thoughts about episode 46 being titled The End, which is named after chapter 679? Do you think that they're just going to be speedrunning through the remaining chapters and then adding new light novel content at the end of Core 4, or do you believe my theory that there will be restructuring and heavy changes around the third Auswahlen, which is why we're seeing content from chapter 679 in the 6th episode of Core 4? I'd love to know all of your thoughts, so continue the discussion in the comments, and lastly, thank you so much for making it to the end of this video, and I cannot wait to see you in my next one. A massive thank you goes out to all of my amazing Patreon supporters for helping to make this video possible. If you also want to support the channel and see your name in the end of my videos, then check out my Patreon, which has loads of perks like early video access and so much more. Thank you for sticking around till the end of the video, and whatever you contribute will mean a lot to me.